in the old port city of Alessandria, where ships from Asia, Europe, and Africa kissed the same restless waters, there lived a man who many believed owned the world. His name was Cassian Aurelio. Cassian was not born rich. He was born hungry. As a boy, he slept in warehouses, counted other people's money for a living, and learned early that hunger does not listen to prayers. Only power feeds it. By the time he was 45, Cassian had built an empire that stretched across oceans. Silk from China, gold from Sudan, spices from India, wine from Italy, and rare manuscripts from Persia. His ships arrived like kings. His name opened doors before he knocked. His signature decided who rose and who fell. Cassian owned palaces in 3 countries. He owned more land than some villages. He owned jewels that once crowned queens. But there was one thing he did not own. At night, when the torches dimmed and the city fell quiet, Cassian lay awake, staring at ceilings carved with angels. His heart beat fast for no reason. His mind raced with thoughts of loss, betrayal, death, and meaning. He had everything, yet something inside him felt hollow. And so, one night, Cassian made a decision that would change his life forever. He decided to buy happiness. Cassian believed in one simple rule: everything has a price. He had bought loyalty. He had bought love. He had bought silence. He had even bought forgiveness. So why not happiness? The next morning, he summoned his chief steward, Lorenzo, a quiet man with tired eyes. "Send word across the world," Cassian said calmly. "To Athens, to Jerusalem, to Cairo, to Benares, to Timbuktu, to the mountains and monasteries." Lorenzo bowed. "What message, my lord?" Cassian smiled faintly. "Tell the philosophers, sages, monks, and thinkers of the world that Cassian Aurelio seeks happiness. I will pay them in gold for their wisdom. The one who teaches me true happiness will be rewarded beyond imagination." Within weeks, Alessandria transformed. The city filled with men and women in robes, sandals, turbans, beads, and rags. Some arrived on donkeys, some on camels, some barefoot. Some spoke in riddles, some quoted ancient books. Some were silent and smiled strangely. Cassian housed them all. Every evening, he hosted gatherings in his grand hall. Candles flickered, wine flowed, guards stood alert, and philosophers spoke. The first philosopher was from Athens, dressed in white. "Happiness," he declared, "is found in reason. Control your desires, and you will never suffer." Cassian nodded and paid him generously. That night, Cassian tried to reason with his fears. It did not work. The second philosopher, a monk from the Himalayas, said, "Happiness is detachment. Want nothing, and you will have peace." Cassian paid him twice as much. That night, Cassian tried to imagine wanting nothing, but his mind clung tightly to everything. The third, a poet from Persia, said, "Happiness is love, to be loved and to love deeply." Cassian's lips trembled. He paid the poet and dismissed him early. He had loved once. It had ended badly. The fourth, a scholar from Cairo, said, "Happiness is knowledge. To understand the universe is to be at peace." Cassian filled his library with books, yet his heart remained restless. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Cassian paid and paid and paid, and still happiness refused to stay. One evening, as Cassian prepared to dismiss another long-winded teacher, his steward whispered urgently, "My lord, there is one more." Cassian sighed. "Let him speak." The man who entered the hall looked nothing like the others. He was old, thin, barefoot, and wore a simple brown cloak. His hair was white, his eyes sharp but gentle. He carried no books, no scrolls, no symbols. Cassian frowned. "Who are you?" "My name is Elior," the man said softly. "I am not here for your gold." The hall went silent. Cassian leaned forward. "Then why are you here?" "Because," Elior replied, "you are drowning in wealth and starving in meaning." A murmur spread across the room. Cassian's guards tensed. Cassian raised a hand. "Speak." Elior walked closer. "You believe happiness is something to be acquired." he said. But happiness is not a thing. It is a condition of the soul. Cashin smiled coldly. And what do you want in return for this lesson? Ilior looked him straight in the eyes. Everything. The hall erupted in laughter. Cashin laughed too. You ask boldly, old man. I ask honestly, Ilior said. Cashin's smile faded. What do you mean by everything? Ilior replied quietly, your wealth, your name, your control, your security, your illusion. Silence fell again. Cashin felt something strange. Fear mixed with curiosity. You will teach me happiness, Cashin said slowly, and I will give you anything you ask. But if you fail, I will lose nothing, Ilior interrupted. I have nothing. Cashin stared at him for a long moment. Very well, he said. You have 1 year. Ilior began not with lectures, but with commands. Tomorrow, he said, you will walk through the city without guards. Cashin laughed. Impossible. Ilior shrugged. Then the lesson ends here. Against his better judgment, Cashin agreed. The next day, Cashin walked the streets like an ordinary man. People bumped into him. A child spilled water on his robe. A beggar cursed him for not giving alms quickly enough. Cashin burned with anger. That night, Ilior asked, were you harmed? No. Then why were you afraid? Cashin had no answer. Days later, Ilior demanded more. Dismiss half your servants. Why? To see if you still exist without them. Cashin obeyed reluctantly. Life went on. Then Ilior said, give away one of your ships. Cashin hesitated, but he did it, and still the world did not end. Months passed. Ilior stripped Cashin slowly, carefully. Stop signing letters with your title. Eat with the workers. Wear plain clothes. Listen more. Speak less. Cashin obeyed, but something inside him cracked. People treated him differently. Some ignored him. Some mocked him. Some pitied him. One night Cashin shouted, who am I without my name? Ilior replied calmly, you are discovering yourself. Cashin was not sure he liked what he found. Ilior's hardest lesson came next. You must face the one you hurt most. Ilior said. Cashin froze. No, you cannot buy happiness while running from guilt. The name burned in Cashin's chest. Marables, the woman he once loved. The woman he abandoned to protect his business. The woman who lost everything because of his ambition. They found her in a poor quarter of the city, older, thinner, carrying pain in her eyes. Cashin knelt before her. I am sorry, he whispered. She said nothing. For the first time in his life, Cashin paid a price that gold could not cover. On the final night of the year, Ilior spoke again. Tomorrow, he said, you will give away the rest. Cashin's breath caught. All of it, yes, my empire. Yes, my houses. Yes, my wealth. Yes. Cashin trembled. And if I refuse? Ilior smiled sadly. Then you choose comfort over truth. Cashin did not sleep. At dawn, he stood before the city and announced the unthinkable. His wealth would be distributed, his businesses sold, his properties donated, his power dissolved. People wept, people cheered, people called him mad. By nightfall, Cashin Aurelio owned nothing but the clothes on his body. He collapsed on the ground, empty and terrified. Ilior knelt beside him. Now, he said, tell me how you feel. Cashin waited. His heart was calm. His mind was quiet. For the first time in decades, he slept. Cashin never returned to his old life. He stayed in Alessandria, teaching, listening, helping. People asked, do you regret losing everything? Cashin would smile and say, no, I lost what I thought I was, and found who I am. Ilior disappeared one morning, leaving no trace. Only the lesson remained. Lessons and teachings from the story 1. Happiness cannot be bought. It must be understood. 2. Wealth can comfort the body, but not the soul. 3. Control creates fear. Surrender creates peace. 4. Identity built on possessions is fragile. 5. Unresolved guilt steals joy silently. 6. True loss is not losing things, but losing oneself. 7. Sometimes everything must be lost to gain what matters most. A final word to you if this story touched you, challenged you, or made you reflect on your own life. You are not alone. Stories like this are written to wake the soul, not just entertain the mind. Subscribe, follow, and share so more stories of meaning, wisdom, and transformation can reach hearts around the world. Because the greatest wealth is not what you own, it is who you become.